Just listen to it. That's the countryside, Joel.
Generally, I want to make the movie or the video about ADHD,
Okay.
more or less. And I just like to know from your perspective, how would you describe having ADHD? How does it impact someone's life? How does it impact your life?
Okay. ADHD. Well, when it first started happening, when I went into stressful situations, I would simply go blank, and these were often occurring at work. And I found that I simply couldn't read. I had I had people's tickets and what have you in front of me, and I simply couldn't read because I couldn't focus my brain. I couldn't think of anything. I was absolutely a rabbit in the headlights. The depression side of it was completely debilitating because I found that I believe the term is task anxiety. The more I had to do, the less capable I was doing anything, and yeah, and then you just can't understand where it's coming from, and you just feel that you're just not functioning, and you can't get beyond it. So now I the best way I can express it, it's like having a limiter in my brain, like you would have a limiter in a car or on a stereo or what have you. When I get to a certain point, then just everything switches off for me. I have, through the relief that the lamp gives me, that gives me a reset in my brain, I feel. And yeah, so, and it's also quite simply having permanent access to my own therapy, because it doesn't give me therapy, but it gives me relief. And so the fact that I'm not waiting to see a psychologist or a doctor or what have you, the fact that I can simply turn to my own couch and switch it on and lie down, knowing that I can come back from that cliff edge in my own home, that has, the value of that has been absolutely immense for me.
Huh?
Yeah, just one countryside rule. Particularly here, Scotland, wherever, never leave a light on with the window open. Okay, because you will fill your hand when it's dark.
Oh yeah.
You'll fill it with midges. Because it makes an Egyptian eye. You buy stuff, I buy clothes on eBay, second hand, and they arrive, and it's just like, oh, fucking hell, is that tumbled? Oh, God, they wash them with those things. And I literally leave them on the line for 2 days to get those.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your art, your painting, and how you came to it?
Okay. I thought I was going to be a writer, and it just didn't work out, and I started having therapy. And in the process of the therapy, my therapist said, I think you have a block. I would like you to start doing drawing. some drawings for me. And my response was, I haven't drawn anything since I was 17. And she was like, no, it'll just do you good, and I would like you. And I was like, what would you like me to draw? And she said, you can draw your childhood memories, you can draw your dreams, you can try and express your emotions. And the second I started, almost, I bought myself a box of soft pastels, and I bought myself a pad, and suddenly I felt like I was 5 years old again, and my tongue was hanging out, and I was, so engrossed in it, and it was like, yeah, this is mine, and no one can touch it, and it just opened a door, and then I did a series of those sketches, and everyone, well, not everyone, I kept them to myself for a long time, but I showed them to my therapist. And she was like, this is great. Okay, why not try painting? And then so I started doing some simple paintings, and then the simple paintings developed into other freer ideas. And through my therapy and through my spiritual journey and my psychedelic therapy, then the paintings just grew and expanded. And the other thing that's a big part of it is the fact that I grew up in St Ives, and like all therapy, it started with an exploration of my childhood, and my childhood was involved art because I lived in the town where the art came from, and it was there to see. And as a child, I climbed through Barbara Hepworth's sculptures in Trewin Gardens, and suddenly these things all made sense. And my journey with the actual manipulation of paint and learning the actual skills of mixing paint and what have you started to expand, and I found my happy place. I found the place where I was totally free, and no one had any right to tell me what to do or how to do it or what have you. And yeah, and it's grown, and now I'd like to think it's my purpose. And I wasn't expecting that when I started. So it's been wonderful. And the lamp plays a part because it stimulates the creative part of my brain, and because what you see, because your eyes are closed, what you see is coming through your own mind. Your mind is creating the images. The lamp is facilitating them through the flickering, and my art and my therapeutic journeys under the lamp tend to go hand in hand. And so my the colours and some of the patterns are reflected in my journeys under the lamp. So it becomes a virtuous circle. Yeah, I got a walk. Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, well, I'll flex it back, and then I'll use some tight bond. I didn't really want to use wood glue. So he says, right, I'm going to come over and get it. I'm like, great, cool.
You live in a very special landscape, in a very special place, and spending time with you, you can see that you have a very deep emotional and spiritual connection to this place. You want to talk a little bit about why you're here and what it means to you?
Well, yes, certainly. When I was in London before I came, and I dreamt of the countryside, and I had that dream of escaping to the country to live in a cottage and it be totally remote, and I did all of that, and the house wasn't in great condition, and probably I wasn't in great condition, but the isolation, which takes a long time to get used to, and I have suffered with the isolation. I have gone to the edge of my sanity, but I came back again, and once you adjust to it's so special. And then the other thing, because I'm always in the same place, and my location, there's only me and farmers and this giant glacial valley, it doesn't change, and that, the form never changes, and occasionally different things come down the road and what have you. So it just gives you a different perspective on time, and because the landscape is 600 million years in plain view, because it's a glacial landscape. And the other thing, through observation, because I'm always in the same place, then you adjust to the seasons and the seasonal calendar rather than what your watch is telling you or what your timetable is telling you. And you just start to walk hand in hand with nature. And I didn't know that was going to happen. And through my psychedelic therapy, that became so much more intuitive. I can just intuit now, these things, and the lamp helps that as well, because you're liberating the unnecessary connections in your brain. You're just kind of reconnecting to the fields of energy and the fields of nature, and literally the fields. So it's wonderful. Stephen King said that when he was starting out, I think he worked in a laundrette or something. He said, I lived in a trailer, right? I lived in a trailer home. Water is diluted carbolic acid, and the rock strata is limestone. So over time, like cavities in your teeth, it hit a weak spot and they collapse, and then the ground above sinks into the cavity, so they're called shake holes. And his parents, craziest life story.
you have lots of small rituals. You have, don't know, but you collect the feathers. You rake your building sand in front of your house. You have all these small little rituals, and they mean a lot to you, and they have apparently a deep emotional connection to that.
Yes.
I just want to know a little bit more about these different small rituals you do and what they bring you in your life.
Okay. For example, the Zen garden was born out of necessity and having a pile of sand in front of my house, and it's just like, okay, I've got a pile of sand. What can you do with sand? And it's like, well, I can create a Zen garden. So all you need is a rake, and you find that the order that you are placing on it gives you order in your mind. It's a very simple task. It's beautiful. The other thing about it is once you have raked it and you observe it over the day, and in the morning, obviously through precipitation and the moisture in the air, that it changes colours and what have you. And it's just very simple, costs nothing, doesn't take much time, but brings peace and order to your life. As does, and this is something that I never did, and I've started doing in the past 6 months, and that's making my bed every morning after I've slept in it, which is an army ritual. It's a boarding school ritual. It brings order to your life. With regard to my prayers and gratitude and belief system, the more you appreciate that you have, the more that comes your way. And that, when I say that, it's not through any kind of avarice or wanting loads of things. It's just I give thanks for the little things, and then more things come, and I give thanks for them. And the whole idea of being in a positive state and exuding positive gratitude and the appreciation of what's good, and the kindnesses you receive, and the luck you encounter, but you make your own luck by having that positive energy, and that is the way forward. And more I agree with the Japanese sentiment of not expressing negative energy and ignoring negative environments and negative people. And as you attune, you can sense them really clearly, and and things change, and what used to be good for you isn't good for you anymore, and people and friendships and certain situations, you avoid them because you're seeking the light, and other people aren't. And I've got a very loud stomach. The one with the yellow painting on, that's a sheep, what they call them, sheep hurdles, right? And what they are is when I win the 106 million, so may it be. But it just makes it even harder. Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Okay. Action. Order to the chaos to give me a framework, and it looks pretty. But that's the other thing that I absolutely love. The wind contains ozone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ozone removes odours and everything from your washing. And it's just... That's one of my Cornish things. Wind-dried laundry, wind-dried towels.
Oh.
It's just, I have the simple things in life, the things that cost nothing, or very little. Your good coffee in the morning, wind-dried towels, wind-dried bed sheets. It turns something that costs nothing into a piece of art. Actually, I'm a Shinto Buddhist.
Now you talked about order and bringing things in order and
Physical order.
Physical order. But what is chaos for you then?
My mind is chaos, and my environment was a reflection of my mind. So I was the messiest person you've ever met. But as I have unknotted my brain, I have found that it's stop wasting your time by leaving chaos everywhere you go. Not in people's lives, just in physical chaos in my environment. And as I have risen out of that state, it's your environment should match your state of being, and I'm trying to be as clear-headed as I can, and to be as clear-headed as I can is facilitated by being in a clearer environment. And I'm just not wasting an hour a day looking for keys and a pair of scissors or whatever it might be, and it just helped. I know many people have always lived like this, but ever since I was a child, I lived in complete chaos, and I thought that was where the ideas came from, and in a way it is, but you can have that chaos in your brain and not have to live with it. So I would recommend it. But the other guys were either Italian or Spanish or, Klaus Kinski. Sorry, I was trying to remember. Harold Stevens was his name. Now, in 1938, coal freighter. So the beach is here, right?
Yeah.
This coal freighter goes down here. This is 1938. So it's sinking. So when they need the lifeboatmen, they used to fire the cannon. So the whole town could hear the boom. The 30s, surfers in the 70s, and disputes between fathers and sons and the way that it all came together. You know that white stone with the hole in it? Okay, I had 3 stories. One... Are you ready for this? Okay, I had 3 stories. One was of a bohemian who worked in a pub surrounded by the local poor and the local rich who go shooting. What's it going to be called, your movie? And I went, Carry On Up the Butt.
Or ask Adam, what do you think brings the light into the world? What is missing?
I think that if you are seeking serenity and doesn't have to be an out of body experience, though it can be, But if you are seeking to raise your consciousness to another level without taking drugs or, all the usual ways of trying to raise your consciousness to another level, we don't all have time to go and sit in a cave or join a monastery or climb into a flotation tank or go on a yoga retreat. The fact that if you are seeking that kind of peace, you can get to it in your own home or in your own garden or wherever you wish to partake of it, and you can do it very quickly and get on with your day or your night or your weekend. And it's a beautiful experience, but it's also the ease of doing it. You simply set it up, lie under it, switch it on, or switch it on and then lie under it. And you don't need anything other than it and you. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need a guru. You don't need a therapist. You don't need a yoga teacher. It's just you and it, and you switch it on, and that is a wonderful thing.